Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Boss Rush live stream. My name's Chris Melasinos. I'm the principal evangelist for video games here at AWS, and joining me today is my co-host.
Dean Takahashi, I'm the editorial director at GameSpeed.
Yeah, we finally got Dean back. Fortunately, we're missing Mark this week. Mark is focused on GDC and getting a bunch of that work done. As you all know, he's now working with the Game Developer Conference again, which is fantastic. And Susan is off for the weekend, so it's just going to be me and Dean holding down the fort today. Of course, if you're watching on, well, any of the channels that we have now, either YouTube, Twitch, or LinkedIn, make sure you go ahead and post to your appropriate social feeds. We can go and get more people in. And if you have any more questions or any questions for Dean and I as we kind of tackle this week's game industry news, go ahead and fire it off in the chat and we'll go ahead and get to them. So, Dean, welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a while.
I know it has been. Yes, we got player one in the room with us today, which is great, which makes me player two, right? Of course. That's right. But so tell us where you have been. You've been on a couple of different journeys recently, and most specifically last week was Roblox. So give us your report back.
Yeah, last Friday was at the Roblox Developer Conference, and that was a lot of fun to watch the keynote and spend the whole day there talking to some of the top game devs. Before that, I was traveling for 15 days, and it was a whirlwind trip through Cologne, Germany for Gamescom, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the Next Generation Sports Conference, then a day and a half in Dubai, and then to Seattle for our own GamesBeat Engage event and for PAX West. So it was a long trip. I managed to lose my luggage and have that lost for 5 days before I got it back, and then I lost my iPhone, so I had to use a backup iPhone. And then about the end of the trip, I got sick. Plus, I broke my roller bag while I was running through the airport.
Oh my gosh. So, but this is, when we talk about being a road warrior, that is literally all the things that we expect to happen. Richard Brown, hey, Richard says, I can't believe you got a new phone just before Apple dropped the 17. That's shocking. So
I know, that was a little sad, but
yeah,
well.
maybe there's an exchange to be done. Maybe there's an exchange to be done. So, okay, well, a ton of stuff to unpack. That we did talk about your event in last week's episode as well, and tell us, for the principal reason that we didn't have you on the live stream last week was for Roblox. So, tell us about Roblox.
Well, it was a fun day. They do an elaborate keynote. Sort of almost like updating everybody on the Roblox universe. They have been under a lot of heat lately for trust and safety issues related to children. That's always been a challenging area for them because it is hard to police what is now 111.8 million daily active users, and to make sure that nobody has a bad experience or that predators are kept out. And so they've been hit with a number of lawsuits, and they addressed a lot of that at the event, noting that they've come out with more than 100 safety features so far this year, and they have more trusted conversations that they've set up between, like, say, parents and kids, and parent-approved friend relationships. They also started their own social network inside Roblox. It's called Roblox Moments, and that was something they've worked on for quite a while. And everybody sort of saw this as like, oh, they're tired of seeing all the views go to YouTube or to TikTok or something like that. But they say no, they're happy to coexist with them. But one of the issues that they've had is that while they have high safety standards, other social networks do not, because those social networks are not for kids. So, you know, they'd run into situations where someone would be tricked into giving up their personal information on Roblox and then invited over to carry on a conversation over on something like Discord. And so, the social network that exists only inside Roblox brings along with it all the safety measures they have. Plus, on top of that, you could just jump right into a game that is shared through in this way. So, um, different kinds of purposes like discovery get served by this. So, yeah, it was very interesting conference though, and I got to meet some of the very young developers who have made games like Grow a Garden and Jailbreak and 99 Nights in the Forest. And all of these games have billions of plays on Roblox.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, tackling those big numbers, right, and putting all these kind of tools in place is a monumental task. So I know that there are a bunch of groups, working very seriously, very earnestly to go ahead and try to make sure that Roblox continues to be this awesome growth platform for content and creation, but also provide the right tools and technologies for families and parents to be able to go ahead and make sure that our kids are protected online, and it's a healthy and good experience for everybody involved. Big, huge effort there, and so glad to see them continuing to lean into the importance of that. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let
Yeah,
me
it
ask you a
was
question.
very.
So you did talk about like the social component piece of that. One
Mhm.
of the things that it reminded me of was like Periscope, but for like in game. If you remember Periscope, where people could just turn on their phone and go live and do these live streams, it's kind of like there where you're
Oh yeah.
clipping and sharing, right? Cutting straight from out of the game, being able to push to socials. So that's really cool too that they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
Let me ask you one other question
well,
about
there
that.
was one more
Oh, I'll
fun
ask you one
moment.
more question. What was the most
Oh,
surprising thing
mhm.
that you found? Was there like a game experience that you found? Was it like a cool? You said you got a chance to speak to some younger developers. Was there something really
Yeah.
amazing that was happening there that kind of surprised you that they were building? What was the most
Well,
pleasantly surprising thing?
the presence of brands was very interesting, and Dentsu from Japan was there, and they had a whole exhibition area set up of a physical fashion show uh, of items that were created inside Roblox. so, so they'd actually gone out and built all these dresses that had been designed for players inside of Roblox, and it was like a real fashion show for virtual items, and that was very cool. Dave Bazuki also came into the press room and just answered questions, and that was interesting. I asked him a question of whether you're still building a metaverse, and his answer was really like um, you know whatever you call it, like we're building um, on top of what we already have, and we see a long vision for this kind of thing, and call it what you want, but we're still working on
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would imagine some of the comment is like, we don't have time to worry about building metaverse because we're building it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's almost like I would say what their platform is a multiverse versus a metaverse, right? So
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
their one platform, they have many, many different expressions, right, that stay contained within the parameters
Mhm.
of Roblox. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, very cool. All right.
Mhm.
What's next? What other big
Let's see.
news pieces are popping up there?
Today is Borderlands 4 day. So this game has been in the works for a very long time as well,
Yeah.
and I was able to catch up with Randy Pitchford at the Borderlands 4 booth at PAX West, and we had a nice conversation there. And it was occasionally interrupted by all the noise coming from the rage room that they set up for fans to go through, and break objects and break glass and
What?
wield a sledgehammer and things like that
Oh my.
inside this reinforced room. And every time someone was done, they'd go in with a cleanup crew and set it all up again. So it's a
Jeez.
crazy, but very Borderlands appropriate.
Oh, for sure. It kind of reminds me. I think we were even having this conversation last week when we had Sean and Ed Friesen, which were wonderful guests and friends, and we were talking about the lot that used to be across the street from the convention center for E3. Do you remember? And it was just like this cacophony of like circus carnival type of environments. This sounds a bit like that.
Yeah. And we had a nice conversation about like also how they had an original vision with the first Borderlands, to do this very stylistic shooter, and he feels like technology and game development have finally caught up with that vision, and so with Borderlands 4, they feel like they're executing on things they really wanted to do back with the original.
Oh, that's very, very cool. Yeah, you just reminded me because this one just came out. Have you ever watched Clueless Gamer on Conan's podcast?
Oh yeah.
And they just did a Borderlands 4 one, which was great. And one of the funniest parts of him playing with Blay was Claptrap came out, and Blay was explaining who Claptrap is, and Conan goes, "Oh no, that voice isn't going to get annoying." He's just like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah," And I love that he plays at that angle of the Clueless Gamer, but it was just funny to see. I'm really looking forward to playing it. Yeah, loved the previous one. So yeah, very cool. Very cool.
And there's a lot of F words in Randy's interview that we ran here too. So.
Oh, that's right. It's Game Speak After Dark. With Randy Pitchford. No, that's awesome though. That is awesome. Yeah. All right, what else you got? But I've got a couple that I'm lined up for us in a bit here, but
let's see. What is like incremental news on Ubisoft's transformation, where they said that they're on schedule for completing the Tencent investment in 2025, but also on October 1st they were going to announce to the world who the creative leaders are for the new subsidiary inside of Ubisoft that's going to have the three big properties of Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six and Far Cry in it. And so they previously had named a couple of folks to be co-CEOs, including Charlie Guillemot, who's part of the ruling Guillemot family of Ubisoft. So that was interesting.
Very cool. Yeah, it's going to be interesting just to see how the rest of that unpacks going forward.
Yeah. And what was your news that you?
Well, let's see. Of course, we're going to dip back and forth between stuff that's happened before and current news. But this past week was the 26th anniversary of the Dreamcast. Did you know that? Yes, the 26th anniversary of Dreamcast. And what I love in working in game preservation and, again, being a digital pack rat is being able to kind of go back and find stuff from the past that, I thought was super either important to me or maybe, sharing with people. And I put this post up on LinkedIn the other day about meeting Peter Moore for the first time when he was a newly minted CEO, right, of Sega of America. And I actually have the presentation that he gave.
Oh, yeah.
Right, at the Game Executive Summit in Monterey. And here is the whole thing. You can go through and look at Peter's very first presentation that he gave as the CEO there. And look at some of these logos in here: Palm, America Online. Uh, he talked about how AOL and Yahoo far outdistanced the competition in search and social and all of these things. We've got eToys and Ask Jeeves and Pets.com in there. And then, of course, sadly, we also have, where was it? It was the Sun Microsystems logo in there. Womp, womp. But anyway, so it was just really fun to go back and see all the love for the Dreamcast. So many people, friends that have come in and out of the games industry and different companies. So many people kind of went through the halls of Sega during that era. So it was just lovely, kind of a celebration,
Yeah, and Peter also has his own autobiography coming out shortly. And he's starting to do interviews with it. We're expecting to maybe have him at our December event, December 11th, during the Game Awards Day. I think it's a combination of like his time in the industry, his love for soccer, and how he eventually, wound up going back to Liverpool to run the team,
right?
And his time in the game industry. So like these different parts of his life he's bringing together in this book.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. There was a post that he'd just done. I apologize if you just said that. I was checking the chat and making sure that stuff is all still good. That he was in, I think, Times Square, and he saw up on one of the big displays his book, and he's like, "This is just a surreal moment." So I thought that was wonderful. Yeah. The thing about him is he is just not only just a brilliant guy and a wonderful speaker. He just is one of the nicest people just in the industry. Very giving of his time, of his advice, very candid, and he'll tell you exactly where you stand. And I'll share one quick one with you, Dean. So back at GDC 2001, there was a catalog that they had done, and there were a bunch of different pictures from a variety of different like shows and stuff on there. And one of the pictures in the front happened to be a picture of me in the front row with these other people laughing. And the reason that I was laughing, right, was Peter got done giving his presentation at this conference, but Microsoft had yet to announce the Xbox formally, which was going to happen at that next GDC. And so they had, I think, Bing Gordon and Kelly Flock, like a bunch of people on stage with Peter. And the question that I asked in the audience was, so if we believe that this Xbox device is going to be launched and you already have all these systems out there with a Windows CE logo on it, what does that mean for you and Sega? And his comment was something to the effect of, if they announce we think they're going to announce, then the gloves come off. And now it's go time, right? And so we were all just laughing. And that picture is, I have a copy of it. I'll have to scan it and do another post on it. But it was just pretty awesome. So yeah, Peter, congratulations on the book. Congratulations on the new role over there. Can't wait to see you at Dean's event later in the year. So so not so much news, but just poking back. I have a bunch of stuff lined up around the Nintendo Direct. Dean and I hadn't seen it yet, but I was able to go through and find some pieces I thought were super interesting. We can talk about that later. But another piece of news that I thought was really interesting that you talked about on GamesBeat was ARM's Lumix CSS platform unlocks real-time AI on small devices. Can you tell us a bit more about this, Dean?
Well, they are planting their flag in the ground that AI is better at the edge for all the various reasons others have pointed out. Like quite often people maybe back off on that claim and say like, okay, it's going to be more like a hybrid cloud and edge world. But they do believe things like privacy gets better when all of the data stays at the edge where it's first captured. That your AI processing can be a lot more personalized. and secure when you do it inside your home on your home machine or on your own mobile devices. And so they see a world where the mobile devices are getting enough AI processing power to actually be able to handle AI tasks at the edge without the help of the cloud. So interesting, vision, I guess, to see whether it actually happens. That's a big question.
Yeah. No, look, I
But they
agree.
see it as more sustainable too than everything going out on the internet, clogging up the internet, and going into the cloud and then coming back. And so, like all of that is part of their reasoning.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, we got to keep those series of tubes unclogged, right, through the internet.
That's right.
If you remember back to that very old description by somebody who didn't know what the internet was. But no, I agree with this too. And I think that it's very interesting, right? Like it's nothing new, right? We just we go through these cycles of innovation. This very much reminds me of grid computing, right? Back in the early 90s, right? Nick Negroponte talking about this kind of stuff. And that's exactly what we're doing here, which is, to your point, can't just constantly pull back to these massive models that require all this compute when you have basically a supercomputer in your hand. So how can we take a subset of content, a subset of information that may be very specific to a person? You generate all of that information down there, and you can do other things to kind of secure it. But then you can also extract common data from across, let's say, a player pool, and use that information to then inform the large language model back on the server side to improve its efficacy, right? Its accuracy over time. And so, yeah, this is a way to spread that compute out at the edge without and improve over time the experience for everybody. And I think that's going to be a really cool place for companies to experiment in. Small language models running on client-side hardware, and then generating common data that can be used and create a better pool at the large language model level to go ahead and, again, improve the service, game, lore, activities, telemetry data, all of those things for developers. So it's going to be really interesting to see, right, how this plays out. But I think that feels directionally like the next big step, right, in these types of services for players all the way back to the providers of those games. So, yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. You also had another story here about can Lego Batman satisfy the AAA desires of superhero fans? So I only had a chance to look into this, read on the surface. What you thinking, man?
So I think a lot of people they got excited when they heard there's a new Batman game, and they're thinking like, oh, it's an Arkham game. It's coming from Warner Brothers. It's going to be super AAA Batman, and it turns out to be Lego Batman. And some people go, oh shucks. It's almost like when I think at one of the events, they announced an Arkham game, and it was going to be in VR, and then everybody goes, "Oh shucks!" Like it's not our hardcore AAA console game.
Or back when they launched, they announced a Zelda, and then it turned out to be Wind Waker, and everyone went, "Oh!" and then realized, "Oh my goodness, that was one of the best Zelda games ever made." That's a shout out to our friend Amir. So.
I talked with one of the producers there, Jimmy Sedota, and he was making the argument, like, if you look at the top picture again, you can see that the graphics in this game are pretty amazing, right? I mean, there are Lego characters, but the environment that they've built there is just pretty stunning, right? And would qualify as really AAA art. They also view themselves as like a self-aware, humorous game full of jokes, inside jokes, jokes for adults, and that to them is a AAA, comedy sensibility as well, and that the kind of experience people get from these Lego games is really their own argument that they're doing AAA games, even if the Lego graphics are not what some people are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, honestly, the
Hmm.
Lego series of games are some of my favorite of all time, right? In fact,
Hmm.
Mr. Lumen here says that Lego games are some of the best games out there. I understand the feeling, but the Skywalker Saga is still one of the most fun I've ever had in couch co-op. Yeah, and I agree 100%. Like, it's awesome. It's approachable. It hits multiple types of play types. There's so much discover in there, so much detail, so much in jokes and nods and winks to fans of the content. So yeah, it may not be the next gritty environment, but if you love the properties, I can't wait to play this one too, right? Because I do love the Lego games. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right,
I,
go ahead.
I didn't enjoy doing another interview back at the Saudi Arabia conference. I spoke with a Saudi prince, Prince Faisal, and he's in charge of the Saudi Esports Federation, but also a lot of the esports strategy for the government.
Yes.
And you know, only a couple of questions, but it was really uh, telling to see. I think what some of their challenges and what the goals are. Like the challenges in the bigger picture, like that the Saudis will eventually run out of oil, and that's the foundation of their economy and their wealth right now. And they need to create other kinds of jobs in the digital realm, in particular, in order to offset that economic change. And games is what they've chosen to invest $37 billion into. They announced this Esports Nations Cup at the event, and that's going to be a esports tournament along national lines, much like the Olympics. And so you can see where they're going, which is they want esports to be an integral part of the Olympics as well. And they aim to create 39,000 game jobs by 2030, and some of that can be viewed as very unrealistic. But what they've done already is they've created this financial empire that exists in games through Savvy Games Group, and they bought Scopely, they bought Niantic, and spent billions of dollars doing that. But they want to create more jobs at home, and that is the hard way of growing jobs one by one through startups, right? And so they are trying to accelerate startups and invest a lot of money there. But convincing people, like one of the things that's missing is institutional and generational knowledge of games in Saudi Arabia, and so people are not growing up with the option of being game developers until probably the last 8 years or so, right? And
Right.
so it's a very short window in terms of having that kind of talent that you need to build great games. And so they have to convince people to move there. And it's a hot place. It has its own societal restrictions in place that are tough for a lot of people. And so convincing people to go there, set up shop, create new game companies and all the game jobs, and attract that talent. That's their toughest problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we over here at AWS are leading in there as well. There was an announcement that was done recently that Savvy Games Group collaborates with Amazon Web Services to enable new opportunities for game developers in Saudi Arabia. So, starting with some conversations I was having with our friend Nika over at Savvy back
Yeah.
at DICE of this year, led to some really interesting discussions about how we could help the sector to grow and help the region grow. And so they just signed a memorandum of understanding around this, where AWS is actually setting up two different programs there, one called Skill Builder and one called Activate. And so these are like digital courses and learning plans to help people understand how to build these game pipelines in the cloud. and then actually provides eligible gaming startups in Saudi Arabia with resources, benefits, and exclusive offers to help build those games. So
it's like this end-to-end investment that they're doing, right? And Prince Faisal mentioned that they have invested enough in the internet there to go from a 150 millisecond ping down to about 10 milliseconds in a lot of cases. And so that's pretty incredible for things like esports, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah. All right. No, that's awesome. That's great. Let's see. There was another article that you did here that I thought was interesting. Before we jump into all of the Nintendo stuff that kind of came out too, Acclaim returns with the first showcase for their indie gaming group.
Yeah,
Acclaim, right? We those are the group that we know with that rainbow stripe underneath and the the two nested C's there. But tell us what was their Play Acclaim showcase?
Yeah. Well, they had 8 games that they showed off. One of them they launched live. All of them are indie titles that are original games, and they're all coming. Besides the one that launched, they're coming in 2026, and none of them are based on Acclaim properties because while they did buy the Acclaim name, they did not buy all of the Acclaim properties, which are spread out among companies like Warner Brothers with Mortal Kombat and other Turok going elsewhere as well. So they're spoken for and they're owned by other companies. It's not out of the question that they're going to have some Acclaim games, possibly, but right now they're trying to bring back sort of the edginess of the Acclaim brand, and they want that to be visible in these original indie games. And so it's a reset, they call it, but it's not a reboot of the original. Different in that way.
Well, interesting. They have games like Pixel Washer, right? So with the popularity of Power Wash Simulator, but now we get a pixel mashup of a pig with a power washer there. Of course, I read The Prisoning Fletcher's Quest, and I thought it said Fester's Quest at first. I was like, oh, they're going to redo a Addams Family game. But no, I mean, leaning back into the type of games that they were at least known for, back in the day, the line with the brand and that nostalgia that comes along with it. That's pretty great.
Yeah. The Katanat game is the one that's live now. And
okay.
That interesting image of a samurai sword and a machine gun, right?
Is it that gun kata that we saw in, oh God, what was that movie? It was a terrible movie with, oh my goodness. Somebody will go ahead and let me know. Yeah, but it was gun kata, using guns as katanas. I was like, okay, you're bending physics a little too much here, folks. But yeah, here we go.
It's like John Wick style, right?
Yeah. And the pixel art's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Very, very cool. All right. Yeah, good job, Acclaim. It'll be interesting to see the rest of their stuff, right?
Yeah.
As they go forward.
So they had a showcase, and they're talking about these are the first games that they're launching.
Excellent. Okay, we are at the top of the hour, and there was a bunch of stuff that just got unpacked today around Nintendo. No, we haven't had a ton of time to look at that as we were getting ready this morning, but there were a couple of things that I'd love to go ahead and surface and love your input on, Dean. So our friends over at Probably Monsters, right? Mark Subotnick and the team over there, they have their first game that comes out. It's actually out now, so you can go buy it now. Congratulations to the team on getting this done. Called Storm Lancers. And here's a little bit of their trailer that I'll play for us while we talk
Interesting.
about this.
It's not the kind of game you would expect from a company that started out with a AAA mission and raised $200 million, right? And they've talked just before Gamescom about the shift in strategy, the pivoting to games that they can make in a short time,
Right.
and to ship games that maybe took 18 months to build instead of many years. Concord was originally one of their games. They sold it off to Sony. We saw what happened there, and that was an indicator, I guess, of maybe it's a good time to change strategy for companies. And what they believe now is the mission is not to make great games. The mission is to ship great games.
Right.
And so if you get it stuck in this make cycle that never ends, and it's many years later, then you find out nobody wants it anymore. That's bad strategy. But they're able to pivot in time enough to have multiple projects underway while they're still working on something that's very long term.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very 2025 strategy, right?
Yeah. Look, I mean, one of the toughest things to do for any company, especially with creative endeavors, is to pivot, right? Is to say, the way we've been doing it, maybe we have to make some changes. We have to think about what our business is going to look like. And they went through that pivot phase. And now we're going to start to see the output and the stuff that they've been working on, come out, a lot faster. And I'm super excited for them. So again, congratulations to the team over there, Probably Monsters, on getting this out the door. I can't wait to go ahead and play it. So again, shout out to Mark Subotnick and all the folks over there at Probably Monsters. Congrats, gang, on getting your game out. That's awesome. All right. Nintendo. Somebody had actually told me what it was. It was Equilibrium with Christian Bale. That was the Gun Kata movie, which this is before his Backman throaty whisper, which is so good. I mean, it's still, Equilibrium, not the greatest movie, but still so damn good because too stylish for its own good. All right. The next one was Super Mario movie is coming out in April of 2026. I think faster than people thought it was going to be. Have you read anything about it? Heard anything?
Super Mario. I was expecting like Zelda or something to drop before we got another one of these, right? So it's a surprise for sure. But yeah, very interesting to see they've got multiple movie projects going at the same time.
Yeah.
And that looks spectacular.
It really does. It does. And I know that Simon Pullman and Amir Satvat are both very excited about about this coming out. As it turns out, it is coming out April 3rd, which is in the same week as both Amir and my birthday. So I got to figure out how we get into the same city to make sure that we're watching that we go and watch the movie. So yeah. So I thought that was really cool. That was
out before the GTA 6 madness starts.
Yes, right? That's right. With the GTA 6 madness that is going to happen, then families also need something to take their kids to see. So perfect timing. Perfect timing. Now, all right, speaking of Super Mario, so then the other one was Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 are also being launched for the Switch 2. Now, did you play through the Mario Galaxy games?
This is not my specialty, so I would always yield these games over to Mike Minotti to play. Our dearly departed Mike Minotti. After 13 years, he left to go join Giant Bomb about a week ago.
And I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
Because the way you made it sound, I was like, wait, what? I didn't hear. You were like our late, great departed Mike Minotti. I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So yeah, Mike's best buddy is Jeff Grubb, and yeah,
Yeah.
they finally decided that they needed to be together to do giant bomb things.
Independent journalism, right? In games industry, like coming back. You guys, them, right? Game Informer, same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
good to see it happening.
so if you didn't play through a lot of this, I did, and one of the things that I loved about this was, especially at the time that these released, my kids were all a lot younger, but the fact that somebody could pick up a Wii controller and
Mhm.
participate by helping to collect the the bits, the star bits and stuff like that, and then play levels that were a little easier for them, and we would switch back and forth, really created a very different gameplay dynamic. And of
Mhm.
course, it's just the level design's amazing, the world is amazing that they built here, and they are launching this on October 2nd.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I think
Yeah.
one of the big ones was they don't require motion controls anymore to play the game, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's going to be, I think, the biggest thing for them.
Yeah, this was quite a chunky direct they did here at 6 a.m. in Pacific time in the morning here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Rachel Kaiser watched this for us. Since I was busy sleeping.
As as you should have been,
Yeah.
with all the travel you've been doing lately. Oh my goodness! All right, I
Yeah.
got three more announcements
Mhm.
from Nintendo Direct, if that's okay to
Yeah.
share
Go
with
ahead.
you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, and I kind of mentioned this already. Power Wash Simulator 2. Oh, it's coming to the Switch 2 this fall. I love Power Wash Simulator. Of all of the sim type of games or simulator type of games, this one is my favorite
Mhm.
because I view this as the second screen to watching television game. I think I may have
Mhm.
mentioned this before. Normally we say, oh, TV is the second screen for games. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, this is the game that I can put on and play while I'm watching a series, and it's just very relaxing. There's no time pressure or anything like that. It's very rewarding when you get every pixel that needed to be cleaned. And so I love it. It is the perfect game to play when you're watching something or binge watching something as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty awesome. And they've added some additional features to this as well. Split screen, co-op, online with up to 4 people. Washing, what did they say here? Clean up the
Mhm.
filthy town of Muckingham and beyond with a whole host of new cleaning equipment and uncover new mysteries. So they're expanding a
Yeah.
little bit. So I thought that was great.
Yeah. Before they had these power wash car washes, I remember taking in high school the auto mechanics class, and the joy of that class was being able to power wash your own car, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Real life.
that's right, real life. But that's the thing. People are like, well, you can just get outside and power wash your own stuff and get that same satisfaction. It's like, yeah, I can't when I'm just laying down after I'm tired, you know. And
Hmm.
the argument I use all the time with that is, well, you could not sit on your ass and watch people paint rooms of their home on home and garden television. You can get up and go paint a room yourself if you like, right? So, so don't listen to those haters. Enjoy all of those builds there. All right, the next one was Metroid Prime 4 Beyond release date. This one, I know so many people are waiting for this.
Hmm.
Um, Hey, did you play through these as well? Any of the Metroid Prime?
A little bit, not as much as well, but I think this feels like the big title that everybody wanted for the Switch 2 to launch, and it wasn't ready, but um, it feels like this is sort of the awesome first party title that Switch 2 needs to have and deserves, I guess. So very interested in seeing how this one turns out.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you can also, I mean, look at some other genres in the Metroid universe now, right? I mean, the first thing I think of is that, what was that? Oh my goodness, what was the name of that racing game? that was on the N64. Extreme G Racing, I think is what it was called. That just kind of reminded me of it. But the fact they've got a bunch of different, traversal modes and things like that, and this make this a little bit different. The Metroid series, I did like to play them, but I was never a completionist at all with them. I just, I couldn't really get into all them. This one, though, looks pretty extraordinary. And I did like the Metroid Prime games that came before it, so... Yeah, definitely be looking forward to
I did get a chance to play this preview of Metroid at the Switch 2 launch, and it's a lot of fun. You can roll around in the ball, you can turn yourself into new things. It's a very good quality game. So,
and it uses a mouse. It uses mouse control too, right? Isn't that correct?
I don't remember that part. I don't even remember whether there was mouse control in this.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought I thought that was the case, but maybe not. All right, but this was the most exciting thing for me for the Nintendo Direct, which was the Virtual Boy. Nintendo's classic.
Yeah.
Right? So I had a Virtual Boy. It was horrifically awesome. Right? And so have you seen what this is? You actually buy that holder.
Yeah.
And you put your Switch. Yeah, you put your Switch into it. And then you can lean forward and get the joy of all of that headache-inducing red cone or rod kind of excitability. What I do remember with this is, with the original one, is I remember playing it in a dark room, right, at night. And when I took it off, and actually the way I did, I would lay down and just put it on my face instead of sitting up and leaning into it. And I remember taking it off, and you could see in the dark because basically now you were just... It was blue light because the red had been so overwhelming that it basically made everything else light up. And then I turned on lights going into the bathroom. It was like, oh my God, why did I do that?
This gave you headaches?
It did. Oh, yeah. Virtual Boy gave me headaches. But remember, this was...
I'm hoping that sometime in the last decades that somehow they may have been able to reduce that.
No, the problem is that it's only red, right? So that's the problem. It's multiple shades of red and black, right? Well, one shade of black, which is just black, and then multiple shades of red. There's no other colors, so your eyes are kind of focusing just on that. And so it's just exciting, that one spectrum of light. And so when it dampens that, so it kind of elevates, the rest of that sensory input. So when you turn on a light and you're getting all this light streaming in, it's now overwhelming, right? But the technology that was used actually in that was first used in a desktop or a tabletop game called the Adventure Vision, which I had when I was a kid, lost it in moves, but now if you could find, like $1,000 for these things. But what it did, Dean, is it had a row of red LED lights off the side of where you were looking in, and had a mirror that would just spin, right? And which basically create like 10 to 15 frame per second effect. And it would light up and then shut off the LEDs in sync with the rotation of the mirror to create a pixelized playfield. And so you could play with this, but it was so cheaply done. Like the pixels were constantly like warbling out of position and everything. This is basically the same tech, but just evolved, right? And what I do love though about Nintendo, and we see this multiple generations and having so many years now of Nintendo with us, is they'll trial something that seems wacky, but then another generation or maybe a generation 0.5, you see the emergence of that. One of the things, when VR was really hitting its zenith, right, of excitability and everybody trying to figure this out, was when the original Switch had launched. And I was like, man, this is the perfect opportunity to just pop it into a headset, and you already have the controls like easy peasy, right? And
No.
I know they had the Labo that lets you play around with it, but this kind of further leans into that. So I'm super excited for the nostalgia factor and just the wackiness of it. At the end, they showed you could get a little cardboard version to use or the tabletop one. If you're gonna do it, just go do the tabletop version of that. Right? It's gonna be a little crazy. So
Very, very impressed with your retro knowledge here. Nice to see it coming back.
it's a problem. It's a problem. And there was one other retro thing that popped up as well, which was the Atari Game Station Go was announced by Atari and My Arcade. I know that the first units have now gone out to influencers and stuff. But what's really cool about this handheld is you have a full spinner, a D-pad, and a trackball all in one handheld unit. And on the other side of it, they've got the number pads. So for games like on the 5200 and things like that would require it, it's all there. It looks really interesting. You know, it's bringing out another handheld in age. We have a ton of handhelds now. Of course, we all remember a little while ago, a few years ago, people like, oh, handheld gaming, that's dead. No, it's not. Right? So anyway, this was just announced or open for pre-orders, and I think it's in October that they're bringing it out.
Yeah, nice to see that alongside things like the ROG Xbox Ally X that is coming, and I was able to play Gears of War on that at Gamescom and PAX as well, and it's actually a great experience. Like making you feel like you've got this Xbox controller in your hands, really. And so when they get it right, so that it feels just like you're playing a console game, I think that's amazing. I've had some of these other decks before where it just wasn't right, and so like it felt awkward to be trying to maneuver, holding these two separate things like handlebars on a motorcycle or something, right? I'm glad to see more of these things coming, and I do hope they nail the controls.
Yeah, no, and I agree. The ROG Ally X, right, taking the best of what the Xbox controller, right, became, and putting the that physicality to it, so you get that same feeling and kind of this, and the preventing fatigue, right, which is what that controller excels at, right? It's really cool. Before we also jump into what we're playing, I did have one other story I would love to share because I think this is just really extraordinary. So I was reached out to by the CEO of this company called Game Class. Have you heard about this?
Oh, no.
So Game Class, what they do is they allow teachers, and I apologize too. The CEO there is Skylar Scarlett. And so he reached out to me, and we had a conversation yesterday, actually, about this. So what Game Class lets you do is they use video game clips that teachers can then use to create lesson plans or modules to teach everything from math to science, English, geography, all of these things. All of it through a web tool and interface. So like, here you go. They're talking about in this video here, probability. And so this way they're able to go in and engage kids with the content that they love, the games that they play, but overlay information and teaching, lessons into the gameplay they see. So you're not actually playing the games. It captures the clips. And here you go. In Mario Kart World, item chances aren't fixed by position alone. Second place, the probability of getting a green shell is around 15-20%. Additional leader also plays a crucial role. And so they're finding that the retention that kids have of the information is just extraordinary now because you're not trying to force them to learn it, right? They see it. I love this idea.
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
Right?
You learn so much playing games too, right?
100%. And they leave it open so that way So I believe it's free for educators. It's free for the students as well. You can see here, pause the video game to illustrate those concepts. You've got notes that you can put in there. You can draw and sketch over those materials. Again, a completely web-based tool. So there's nothing to download, right? It's really, really amazing. So, as we think about how we can use video games to help teach, right, and engage students in a world where we have so much distraction, right? This is like the perfect marriage of education and content that they love. So I'm going to be experimenting with it as well. Really, really cool.
Yeah, it's like going where the people are, right, to educate them. And I think of trying to read books to one of my kids, and it just didn't sort of appeal to the kid. But whenever she needed to learn something, she would go and find a YouTube video, and it would just show her how to do something, and she became the fix-it person of our house, right?
Yeah.
always figuring out how to do complex tasks, and learning it through YouTube videos from the experts.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other cool thing too, Dean, is that they let students go and create those plans as well. So you can see how they're doing this. So you're engaging kids in creativity. Right. Really, really awesome. So definitely go ahead and check them out. It's called gameclass.ai. I'm going to be keeping a close AI on it. That was terrible. Sorry.
What an awful question.
That was terrible.
Do you have that wah thing?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That was horrible. My apologies, everyone. But no, really, really cool. I think they have over 1,000 different videos they've already created with educational content and lessons in there. So yeah, super, super awesome. Thanks again, right, to Skylar for reaching out, because I think this is just really incredible. So if you have an interest in games education, I know Mark DeLora does, and he said here, thanks for holding down the fort. Play some great games this weekend. He couldn't join us, but yeah, definitely go ahead and check that one out. So that's the last piece of news or stuff that I had for us. Yeah, Antonio here said, my son would eat this up. Mr. Lumen here says, this sounds incredible for learning. I'm a psychologist. It could help a lot with ADHD. As somebody who has ADHD, I can tell you, yes, it would help a lot. Right? So yeah. We'll definitely be looking forward to that. So, all right. As we wrap up here, man, what are you playing?
Playing a top secret game that I can't talk about, but
see,
we'll see it soon. Sorry about that.
The problem of being Dean.
Yeah. But I did enjoy my time with Borderlands 4. I think it's a great game. Let's see. I had some very fun demos at Gamescom. I did get a chance to play Hollow Knight, or not Hollow Knight, Silksong for a bit, and yeah, it's a great experience too.
Yeah, it is wonderful.
And yeah, I think I've just dabbled in lots of different games in the last few weeks here.
Mr. Lewin says, break the NDA, Dean. Don't be scared,
I'm not ready to get an electric shock.
That's right. Yeah, so what have I been playing? Not much this week. It's just been a week of doing a bunch of catch up and stuff like that. I'm finishing. I know I should say that I'm embarrassed to even say this because it's only like a 2.5 hour experience, but thank goodness you're here. I'm just finishing that up too, which was just such a funny, just wonderful little, interactive toy adventure, a slap former, as I've been told it is called, which I think is just great. And then I also picked up Silksong and I started playing a bit of that, and I just need time to sit down and play it. Of course, still playing through Donkey Kong and
I did get my hands on Invincible Versus from Skybound, which is very interesting fighting game, and it's like a tag team sort of game, like Mortal Kombat recently had, and I you know. You just sort of mash buttons. Sometimes you hit two buttons at a time and fight, and then at a critical moment when you need to, like, say, break the lock that somebody has on you, like you're in a doom loop with them, you can call in another hero and have them just stop that from happening and disrupt it, and then get you back into a regular fighting posture against your opponent. So I thought that part of it introduces just a lot of interesting strategy when you're able to call in two other different heroes. So,
oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hey, before we get out, because I know we're running a little bit over, I do want to say that we have a new guest that has followed us today here, Jane Whitaker. So, hey, Jane, how are you? I'm so glad to see Jane here. I did a long-form interview with Jane like 2 months ago, and it has been completely my fault that I have not been able to get the time to finish the editing of this for the Game Industry Legends series that I do. But it is coming, I promise. And Jane was one of the people that worked on Alien versus Predator on the Jaguar, right? Which was like one of those games that kind of set that whole genre forward there. And just a fascinating career spent building, stuff that Jane loves. So Jane, it is coming. So thank you for your patience, just trying to find the time to do that, all of that justice. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week's Boss Rush. Now, next week, we may have Alex Seropian joining us. So Alex and I have been exchanging information, and so we are going to see if we get all schedules lined up and have Alex join us. Hopefully, we'll have Mark and Susan back here and Dean back. So we'll have a full house again next week, but that's going to wrap it up for this week's Boss Rush. Of course, I want to thank Dean, as always. Thank you, buddy, for for not just bringing the knowledge every week, but for also all the work that you do on behalf of the industry too. We love you, and thanks for I know you lost your luggage for an entire week. I only lost mine for 2 days last time I was at Gamescom. So my sympathies to you. And
Put air tags in your luggage is what people told me.
Air tags in your luggage for sure, 100%. 100%. All right, and that is your pro tip for the day. I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day, a wonderful weekend. Please go ahead and share this. If you like this, go ahead and comment on it on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitch. Go ahead and share it with your friends so we get more people in that love video games. And we'll see you next week on Boss Rush. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Awesome.